You're watching ABC10 Plus Tonight.
Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Plus Tonight. Attorneys general from 22 states, including California, are now suing to block President Donald Trump's move to end birthright citizenship. What this means for people living here in California. Plus, another executive order could impact how much you pay for prescription drugs. ABC10 Plus Tonight starts right now.
We start with the first full day of the second Trump administration. Lawmakers who escaped the Capitol on January 6th are now responding to President Donald Trump's decision to pardon more than 1,500 people for their actions on that day.
And President Trump's executive actions around immigration and creating a new Department of Government Efficiency are among those now facing lawsuits. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
From the White House today, President Donald Trump announced a $500 billion investment from tech companies building AI infrastructure.
This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did.
President Trump's first day back in the White House was marked in Sharpie, signing more than 200 executive actions total. The president also signed pardons for about 1,500 January 6 defendants, including those who attacked law enforcement officers. On Capitol Hill, members of Congress reacted.
It was surprising to me that it was a blanket pardon.
I certainly don't want to pardon any violent actors, but there's a real miscarriage of justice here.
Among those released, founder of the Oath Keepers and one of the January 6th riots organizers, Stewart Rhodes, leaving the Maryland prison and his 18-year sentence behind. And former Proud Boys chairman Enrique Tarrio also released from his 22-year sentence, the longest prison term handed down in connection with the riot. Today, the first and second families attended a prayer service at Washington's National Cathedral, a long-standing tradition. Bishop Marianne Budd with this message for the president.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
Afterwards, Trump was asked what he thought.
I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
Tonight, a legal battle is already growing over Trump declaring an end to birthright citizenship, even though it is protected by the 14th Amendment, which guarantees citizenship to children born in the United States despite the citizenship of their parents. ABC 10's Becca Habegger explains what Trump's executive order calls for and how this all could play out in the courts.
On Monday, freshly sworn-in President Donald Trump signed more than 200 executive actions. One, entitled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship, directs federal agencies to stop issuing citizenship documents starting later next month to children of certain non-citizens. It's based on the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which says, in part, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Previous U.S. Supreme Court decisions have established that anyone born on U.S. soil becomes a citizen. But President Trump argues this doesn't apply to babies born to mothers who are undocumented or here temporarily if the father is not a citizen or lawful permanent resident.
Certainly the courts are going to take action. With big changes like this, we're going to see all the branches of government involved. And the citizens.
Constitutional expert Leslie Jacobs, Anthony Kennedy Professor of Law at University of the Pacific's McGeorge School of Law, says legal challenges will likely delay the order's implementation and potentially defeat it.
The very first thing they'll ask for is an emergency order that puts the president's executive order on hold.
Adding that something like this would likely not go into effect until the United States Supreme Court weighs in on it. On Tuesday, more than 20 states filed a lawsuit against the executive order, including California, as members of the American Civil Liberties Union and others took to the state capitol.
I think California has a tremendous opportunity to lead in this moment. We believe that the rule of law is important. that people's civil rights and civil liberties are fundamental and in the Constitution.
To be clear, President Trump's executive order is not retroactive, saying it will apply only to persons who are born within the United States after 30 days from the date of this order. But Professor Jacobs wonders whether such an order would require another amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
That process would take a very long time and would have to have 2/3 of the states.
Becca Habiger, ABC 10.
And I also want to mention that Professor Jacobs says the U.S. Constitution was last amended more than 30 years ago with the addition of the 27th Amendment in 1992 related to Congress members' salaries. Making good on his promises, President Donald Trump introduced a laundry list of executive orders on his first day in office.
That includes repealing Biden's executive order that lowered prescription drug costs for Americans. ABC 10's Devin Truby has a closer look at the impact.
We spoke with local pharmacists today about how this is going to impact their future, from being able to address patient concerns to how this is going to impact their prescriptions. There's still a lot of moving parts. Hidden in the headlines of President Trump's massive executive order release is something that will potentially impact more than 6 million Californians on Medicare.
I was shocked.
Repealing Biden's executive order 14087 from October 14, 2022, called lower prescription drug costs for Americans. The order was working on three things: having Medicare prescription plans offer generics for $2 copays, improve access to cell and gene therapy, often used to treat things like cancer, to Medicaid recipients, and third, speed up the process for access to effective new treatments.
Scrambling to understand what's going on and how are we as pharmacists going to be able to provide education to our patients and our physicians to allow patients to still have access to these medications at the lowest possible price.
Still on Trump's chopping block is the Inflation Reduction Act. He ordered federal agencies to stop spending money on it. According to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, in 2025, lower prices for some of the most expensive and most used medications would go into effect, and they were set to negotiate on 15 more big-name drugs.
Ozempic was one of them. The Breo, which is an inhaler used to help patients control their asthma or COPD. Linzess, which is another medication, not generic. It's used to help patients with GI issues. So these are some of the medications that we see very frequently, very common.
The Inflation Reduction Act also capped out-of-pocket expenses for Medicaid at $2,000 and insulin at $35 a month. Most patients had yet to get the benefits from Biden's executive order. However, for local pharmacists like 10 Acres and Poochie's, there was concern about how this was going to affect them.
There were some problems with the proposal that pharmacies were going to have to carry the cost of those drugs that were going to be rebated. And for independent pharmacies like ours, it could be as much as $27,000 per month on average.
Both 10 Acres and Poochie's agree the fallout from this could be access issues.
Some of these medications are super expensive for even us to purchase, and the reimbursement from the pharmacy benefit managers tend to be below some of our costs associated with this. And so we've had to steer patients to go through mail order or to go to some of the big box chains to get their medications filled.
Especially with big box store pharmacies like Walgreens recently announcing closures. Reporting in Sacramento, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Devin, thank you.
President Trump wasted no time pursuing his agenda, signing dozens of executive orders on his first day in office. Some of the orders would amount to major changes in current policy, leading many to wonder whether Trump actually has the authority to make them. So what power do executive orders actually have? Are they the same thing as new laws? Let's verify. Our sources: the Constitution, the American Bar Association, FindLaw, and the Congressional Research Service. The answer is no. Executive orders are not the same as laws passed by Congress. For one, the president has to follow laws passed by Congress, but cannot force Congress to do anything. The Constitution gives the president broad, quote, executive power. That means power over the executive branch. That's White House staff, the military, and federal agencies like the FBI or Department of Energy. Using executive orders, he can tell those agencies what to do. But this power is not limitless. The president must obey existing law, whether that's the Constitution, acts of Congress, or decisions made by the courts. The president does not have the power to repeal or change existing laws with an executive order. He does have the power to interpret laws and decide how they get enforced, and that's what many executive orders do. But those interpretations can be challenged in court, and the orders struck down if they're found to contradict the law or exceed the president's authority. Executive orders can also be repealed by the president with the stroke of a pen, whereas laws can only be repealed by Congress or struck down by the Supreme Court. So while executive orders can be used to quickly achieve some policy changes, they're limited by existing law and often only change things in the short term. Major, long-lasting changes require action from Congress. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Before leaving office, President Joe Biden pardoned members of his family, as well as Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, and members of the House committee who investigated the January 6th Capitol attack, despite none of them being charged with a crime. Some people are curious about how broad presidential pardons can be. So let's verify. Can a president pardon someone for a crime they haven't actually been charged with? Let's verify using these sources. The U.S. Constitution gives the president broad power to issue pardons for, quote, offenses against the United States. In the 1886 case Ex parte Garland, the court described the president's authority to pardon as, quote, unlimited, except in cases of impeachment extending to every offense known to the law and able to be exercised either before legal proceedings are taken or during their pendency or after conviction and judgment. Biden's pardons offer protection from prosecution from another presidential administration for any crimes committed during a specific time frame. Biden also pardoned his son Hunter in December to offer similar protections. The Department of Justice Office of the Pardon Attorney says pardons this broad are rare, but not unheard of. Gerald Ford issued a similar pardon to Richard Nixon following Nixon's resignation after the Watergate scandal. So we can verify, yes, presidents can pardon people for potential crimes they haven't actually been charged with. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
In the final hours of his presidency, Joe Biden issued blanket pardons to several people to protect them from politically motivated prosecutions. They included members of his family, Anthony Fauci, members of the January 6th committee, and witnesses in the January 6th hearings. The pardons make it impossible for those people to be punished for any alleged federal crimes, though Biden said he believed no such crimes were actually committed. Verify viewers wanted to know, can President Trump revoke pardons issued by President Biden? So let's verify using these sources. The Constitution gives the president sweeping powers to pardon people for federal crimes. There's nothing in the Constitution or federal law that allows anyone to revoke a presidential pardon once it's delivered. There is one gray area, revoking a pardon that hasn't been formally delivered. In 1869, outgoing President Andrew Johnson issued a pardon which incoming President Ulysses S. Grant tried to revoke. A federal judge ruling on the case wrote, quote, when a pardon is complete, there is no power to revoke it. But he also said the question remains, when is a pardon complete? He decided it was not complete until the pardon is actually delivered to the person receiving it, or someone with the authority to receive it for them. In this case, the pardon had only made it through a series of messengers, the judge ruled, and was stopped before it could reach the recipient, therefore it could be revoked. This precedent was invoked more recently in 2008 by President George W. Bush. He revoked a pardon he issued after learning new information about the recipient that made him change his mind. The Justice Department at the time argued Bush was allowed to do that because the pardon hadn't been delivered yet. So, under current law, as long as Biden made sure the pardons got delivered, they cannot be revoked. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker. In the weeks after he won the election, Donald Trump named several nominees for key roles in the federal government. So when do those people take office? It depends. The Constitution says federal officers need to be nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. In modern times, the confirmation process usually involves the nominee filling out questionnaires, going through background checks, and answering questions in a Senate committee hearing. The president can't formally submit nominees to the Senate until he's inaugurated, but the Senate usually starts the process for the most important positions ahead of time. That's why there have already been hearings this week for key roles like Defense Secretary and Attorney General. As soon as Trump is sworn in, he can officially submit the names, and the Senate can vote to confirm those appointees right away. But for the hundreds of less critical jobs, it may be weeks before their process gets completed. And some jobs may not get.
To weather now, and the winter storm bearing down on several states, including historic snowfall in parts of Texas and Louisiana. Just look at these scenes. Both states are seeing their first ever blizzard warning. Louisiana State Police responded to more than 50 crashes statewide due to the icy conditions. New Orleans' famous French Quarter, Bourbon Street, seeing blizzard-like whiteout conditions.
I don't think I've ever seen snow actually stick to the ground out in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's not alone. Airports in Florida, Louisiana, and Texas are suspending operations altogether due to this weather. More than 2,000 flights and counting have been canceled today. And adding to the challenges, many of these places don't have snow plows or even haven't needed them really for generations here. This is pretty extreme conditions.
My folks in Alabama were dealing with some snow as well, Monica, and that is true. They just aren't prepared for these type of conditions many times.
It is an Arctic blast that is going to go down in the record books for sure. Now, we are going to get a little tiny taste of some of those conditions. Nothing like what they are seeing throughout the Great Lakes. Chicago, high today of 2 degrees, but some of the wind chills were making it feel like 20 below zero. And you can see how those temperatures really plummeted all the way into parts of Texas and much of the Gulf Coast states, including New Orleans, only at 38 degrees for today. Kansas City, 17. Now, it did started to moderate over towards the West Coast, but still, that cold air is going to start to press our way by the weekend. In the meantime, we're dealing with a completely different set of weather elements. That red flag warning still in effect through Thursday now, through much of Southern California. We've seen some wind gusts close to about 50 miles per hour for today. Our particularly dangerous situation in effect here just north of Los Angeles. And again, we were following all of those gusty conditions, but those winds are starting to come down ever so slightly down below that threshold. So the good news is that we're starting to see lighter winds, but the red flag conditions remain now for pockets of Southern California through Thursday. Here's a look at our weather impact headlines. Back to our local conditions, lows near freezing. For tomorrow morning, weekend showers still on tap and also tracking a return to those gusty conditions. Highs for today after starting off in the 20s and 30s rebounded nicely to about 60 throughout the valley and towards the coast, 50s for the foothills and close to 50 up top for the Sierra, where we're going to be tracking the chance for snow. And we actually kind of need to get that snow machine going once again. Big Mountain Backyard. Right now, clear conditions. Our temperatures holding in the 50s throughout the valley, 30s for the Tahoe Basin. Our sunset was at 5:16, so we're just past sunset here. Sunrise tomorrow at 7:19. We start the day off in the 30s. We'll warm to highs in the 50s and 60s throughout the valley with fairly light winds. Winds not so much of a concern over the next couple of days. It's not until we get to overnight Friday into Saturday, once that weather system starts to back in our way, we start to see wind gusts closer to about 30 to 35 miles per hour, mostly impactful on the west side of the valley because of this low right here starting to press our way. It's going to drop that storm track, bring in a slight chance for showers, mainly on the west side of the valley and into the east side of the valley into the high country. But you can see anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rain possible and a couple of inches of snow as well. And we could see some showers in Southern California. Highs for tomorrow still in the 40s for the Tahoe Basin, 60s as we head into the lower elevations after a crisp start to the day. We'll see some sunshine and then we'll bring in that slight chance of showers coming our way Saturday into Sunday, again, mainly for the east side of the valley and through the high country. I'm going to put it in there for our 7-day forecast over the weekend. It's something that we'll be watching because after that, it's right back to the dry weather.
Right. It's been such a long string of dry and really mild conditions, and we know any rain that we can get, well, we need it.
Yes.
Encouraging to hear about the possible rain down in SoCal as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, Monica, thank you.
Americans with No Address. It's a documentary that details the housing crisis in our country. You can watch it today on Amazon Prime streaming service.
And it'll be followed by a feature film, and that's set to hit theaters next month.
ABC 10's Marcus Allen catches up with the film's Rockland-based producer, who's in studio with us right now. Mark?
Yeah, good morning, you two. And it's lovely how it dovetails together with that narrative feature. Jennifer Stolo, you are the CEO of Robert Craig Films. and the producer of this.
Yes.
And it all started with them wanting to make a narrative with actors acting out. Robert wanted to get a really in-depth, wholesome knowledge of this, and therein the documentary was born.
Absolutely. Yeah, we set out to make the movie No Address that's coming out on February 28th. And with that, you know, in order to study the homeless crisis across America, we actually set out on a bus tour for over 3 weeks, interviewed over 175 people, organizations, national, nonprofits, and really try to understand what this looks like. We're seeing the rise in numbers, and we just saw HUD's numbers come out, 18% increase over last year. So this is an American crisis that we really need to tackle as a community.
You know, it wasn't that long ago I was talking to you on the red carpet of the big premiere. This is now an Academy Award qualifying movie. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But it dawned on me, so we're in an audience of a lot of people, those people watching this movie about the housing situation in America now no longer have an address.
Absolutely. You know, it is, we always say this could happen to anyone. If you don't think it can, it really can. I mean, look at this. The fires in LA, we had 75,000 individuals that were experiencing homelessness prior to that. We can only imagine what that rise will look like. It really is a crisis in so many of our communities. And this documentary helps to show what's working, what's not working, and how we got there.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. One thing that I was so grateful for when I saw the premiere, by the end, we have solutions coming from authorities on the subject, people that know and have great ideas on how to fix this or try.
Absolutely. You know, that's what we found. You know, people say this is hopeless. You know, we walk our streets and we see the situation, and it's not. If you find some of these organizations, many of these organizations, we partnered with the National Salvation Army, the rescue missions across the United States, and so many nonprofits right here in our community that are really helping to solve this solution. And we as individuals can be a part of that. We can volunteer, we can donate, we can give back. We can be part of it and actually make a difference.
And I love the support you're getting from the Hollywood elite, like Ashanti is in the movie, William Baldwin is in the movie, and raps back out as narrator of this documentary.
Absolutely, yeah. Billy Baldwin's a great guy. He wanted to narrate this. He became very passionate. He walked the homeless encampments right here in Sacramento when we made the movie here. It's just wonderful to see how Ashanti, Billy Baldwin, Ty Pennington, Beverly D'Angelo, how these people have really come to just own and love, you know, what we're doing, but really be a part of the solution.
Well, it starts today. You can see it on Prime, and you really do need to see this. It is epic. It is amazing. And like I said, it's hope-filled. Now, with that said, the documentary that gave birth to all of this, ticket sales go on today.
Yeah, ticket sales go today. You can watch the documentary on Amazon Prime, as you just mentioned. AmericansWithNoAddress.com is another place you can do streaming. The movie itself, the feature film No Address, will be out on February 28th nationwide in about 2,000 theaters. I know it's already slated for 5 theaters right here in our Placer County and Sacramento region.
That is amazing. It gives me such joy when I see you and all the others involved on all these big national TV shows. So it's an honor to have you with us here today.
Thank you, Mark.
All
nice
right.
to be here. Thank you.
Get it on Prime. Back to you.
Yeah, a lot of truth in that documentary and the movie, too. We're only just a couple of paychecks away from being in a jam like that.
So
all
true.
Right. Okay, Mark, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching ABC 10 Plus tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Trust isn't given, but earned. It's built every day by doing the hard work, putting in the hours, doing the research, holding the powerful accountable, and being there when you need us most. Working hard to earn your trust every day, every newscast, every story. Watch weeknights at 6 or stream live on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.
Watch Marcus Allen's new entertainment show, Take a Look. Stream anytime on ABC10 Plus.